Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll see what kind of trouble and controversies they get into. But between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way, including a discussion about lung cancer. We're going to understand more about that and how it can be treated. We'll also meet some lovely Girl Scouts, all that and more coming up. But first, speaking of meeting people, we're going to meet royalty. I'm sitting with royalty. And you're going to meet him here in just a second. On my immediate right, our good friend Kimberly Reese, who is Executive Director of University Donor Events at Winston-Salem State University and an alumna.
Absolutely, a proud alumna.
Ram all the way through.
Yes, I am.
And Kimberly has brought royalty with her. Next to Kimberly is Taylor Walker, Miss Winston-Salem State University, homecoming queen, hailing from Durham, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful lady. And Cambry Stevens is Mr. Winston-Salem State University, hailing from Norfolk. He is the homecoming king. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Kimberly, I'm going to start with you. What is homecoming week all about for people that don't know?
Well, Jim, let me tell you this. We are so very excited this year to have planned another absolutely magnificent homecoming week. Winston-Salem State University is known nationally among all of the historically black colleges and universities for putting on one of the best homecomings ever.
Big celebration even if you didn't go there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we involve the city, we involve our surrounding townships, and we encourage and invite all of our friends, alumni, community stakeholders to come and join us for a week of activities that start on October the 27th through November the 2nd.
Absolutely, and we'll put that up on screen in just a second. What's new this year? Can you tell us?
We do. This year we had a unique opportunity with our homecoming falling on the week of Halloween that we are going to introduce a new event that will intersect with our homecoming and a Halloween event for the community. It's entitled our Community Ram-A-Lantern event. It is open and free to the public, and we are inviting local school-age kids to come over, join us from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m., and we will have 12 candy stops where they will be able to come over, collect candy. Wow. We will also have hay rides, some craft stations.
That's great.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like an old-fashioned Halloween.
Yes, and sport their costumes.
Let me speak to the king and queen here for a second. Taylor and Cambry, how were you chosen to be homecoming queen and king? Let me start with you, Taylor.
So, to be Miss Winston-Salem State University, you had to put an application in. After that, you were interviewed by a board made up of alumni, of faculty and staff, student leaders at the time. Then after that, they chose the top 3 participants, and then those ladies were given the opportunity to run, and the student body voted on Cambry and I.
Is that the same with you, Cameron?
Yes, sir. So this goes beyond homecoming. So like we get elected and we are actually into the role by April of the previous semester.
Representing the university year round.
Year-round, yes, sir.
Because when I said homecoming king and queen, I'm an old guy, I'm 100 years old. That's what we used to call it, because you are sort of reigning over homecoming.
Yes.
It keeps going.
You are.
Now, what the Russians didn't hack y'all's election, did they?
No.
Okay.
Not ours.
I want to make sure we can get into that. Now, what does it mean to y'all personally? Seriously, what does it mean to y'all to be Mr. and Miss Winston-Salem State University? Other than the fact it's kind of fun, I mean, what does it mean to you?
So I believe for us, it is a distinct honor. Winston-Salem State University has a rich legacy and history, and serving as the representation is giving the role to not only show what Winston-Salem State University is about academically, culturally, on our campus, but in the entire community.
Yeah. Sure. And it's just about representation. We are in the 80th, so she's the 80th Miss Winston-Salem State, and I'm the 46th Mr. Winston-Salem State. And it's just about representation, representing those who were before you and those that comes after you, and also the students on campus.
We're almost out of time. Very quickly, what's y'all's major?
I'm a double major in communications and speech.
Political science with a concentration in public administration.
Wow, that's cool. Up on screen, I want to make sure I put something up there that Kimberly mentioned. Sunday, October 27th through Saturday, November 2nd. The website is wssu.edu, and I know Kimberly wants to check that out for many reasons, not just to check out all the activities, and there are a lot of them, but also learn more about Winston-Salem State University. Ms. Alum, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me again, Jim.
And for bringing the king and queen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much.
Good luck. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and I believe, if I'm correct on this, I think November coming up will be Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And here we are a month early, but I wanted to learn about it, and I wanted to share some information I can learn along with you as well. We have a special guest that's going to help us on this topic. Next to me is Dr. Reggie Munden. He is, among other things, Executive Director of Imaging Services and Cancer Life Services at Wake Forest Baptist Health. Good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
How prevalent is lung cancer today, Doc?
It's pretty prevalent. There's about 160,000 cases a year diagnosed. It's the highest rate of death from cancer in the United States. And it's the #1 cause of cancer deaths in the U.S.
And we, of course, we hear things on television and different programs that talks about how if you smoke, you have a greater risk of it. But what about people that have never smoked? I mean, can they get lung cancer?
Yeah, actually about 15% of people with lung cancer have never smoked. It's possible they've had exposure to smoke or environments, but there are other causes of lung cancer. Radon exposure, which is actually fairly prevalent in this part of the country.
Radon exposure?
Radon, background radiation basically, and also environmental toxins like diesel exhaust has a high association with lung cancer.
Wow, I didn't know that. Now, what are some common symptoms of lung cancer? And I know it sounds like a stupid question for me because I'm thinking in my mind, well, obviously it's just coughing. But I mean, what are some symptoms of lung cancer?
Well, that's it. That's the problem in the whole world of lung cancer is most people don't present with symptoms until they're very late stage disease. And it usually is coughing, shortness of breath, commonly associated with coughing blood, most commonly.
Now, if I don't display any symptoms at all, there's nothing to worry about. I read something, I think it was an email you sent me the other day, and it says it's still an okay idea to have a lung cancer screening even if you don't have symptoms. What did you mean by that?
Well, screening classically is you're looking for disease in people who are considered to be healthy, but they have a high risk factor, and that's what we're doing in lung cancer screening. So people who are 55 years of age, who have a relatively heavy smoking history, and we calculate it by pack years, so 30 pack years of smoking, which is 30 years of smoking a pack a day, it would be a 30 pack year or some multiple of that.
So they're primed for maybe getting lung cancer. They don't feel bad right now or whatever, but you're saying let's get in and let's check it.
Got to detect it early.
Yeah, what exactly is involved in a lung cancer screening?
So lung cancer screening is a process where the patient meets with their provider. They meet criteria, which right now is at 55 years of age, 30 pack years. They go through a shared decision process, which is a discussion about the risk and benefits. And then the test itself is really simple. You sit on a CT scanner, or commonly called a CAT scanner. It takes about 10-15 seconds, and you're done.
Really?
And that's all it takes for the test.
And they can tell from that. Are there any risks of doing the screening?
There are risks not from the CT itself, minor risks from the CT of a little bit of radiation exposure. The problem with lung cancer screening is we find a lot of stuff that is not cancer, but we can't ignore it. So for instance, we may find a spot on your lung that looks like a cancer, but it turns out not to be a cancer, but you end up going through a battery of tests to prove that.
You know, this is way off track, but I've always talked about in my column and on this show before, I think everybody should have a baseline CT, to go by, just like you have baseline mammograms and stuff like that. But anyway, now what if there's a positive result on a screening? Well, all right, so we believe you have lung cancer. What's the next step?
So if there is a positive screen, there's a fairly structured algorithm we follow to determine how high a risk that is. And the higher the risk, the more so-called aggressive we will be. So we may actually go to biopsy to prove that it's a cancer. Most commonly, it really involves follow-up study to confirm that this is not something transitory like a small area of pneumonia or something that goes away and we get you all excited. So the test determines the higher the risk, but ultimately you may have another imaging study, you may undergo a PET scan, which is looking for the activity.
To confirm it.
And then you may undergo biopsy.
Up on screen is for more information on a lot of things, a lot of topics I hope you'll check out, wakehealth.edu. That's wakehealth.edu. Of course, you can speak with your family physician and start the ball rolling on that to get to determine if you should do one of these lung cancer screenings. But Dr. Munden, I appreciate helping us through this.
Well, thank you for giving us the time.
All right, you take care.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, always glad when we can have some of the good folks from Alamance Community College stop by the studio and tell us what's going on at the college and all sorts of great things, helping people prepare for great careers. And let's meet a very special guest who's been with us before. We're so glad to have him back. Justin Snyder is Dean of the Industrial Technologies Division at Alamance Community College. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You and I have talked before about the growing number of baby boomers who are retiring now from, they're my age, 150. They're retiring now from trade jobs across the state. Remind us of how that is affecting and maybe creating what you refer to as a skills gap.
Yes, so we have an absolute challenge in the industry locally, statewide, and nationally to fill those jobs of those baby boomers. So we've got individuals that have been working in these careers in the trades for 20, 30 plus years, and now they're retiring. So we've got to find someone to come in, take their place, and not only that, the technology is continuing to change. So they've got to have new skills as they enter into that workforce.
Well, Justin, is there any one particular job category or job categories that are affected most by this so-called skills gap?
So manufacturing is where we see a lot of this. North Carolina itself ranks 4th in the nation in manufacturing. And really one of those key components of manufacturing that typically gets overlooked is machining. With machining, we're looking at subtractive manufacturing, fixing parts on equipment when they break. There's really a machinist typically in all of our big manufacturing companies. And we're finding really difficult to replace those guys as they're retiring.
Now tell me about there was an email that you sent me that said computer integrated machining. What's that program all about?
So that program is a combination of blueprint reading, some mechatronics, some computer-aided drafting. It's taking our computer numeric controlled machines, or CNC machines, and taking parts and pieces of metal and creating those parts that run those machines. So we're seeing it in aerospace manufacturing, we're seeing it in cars, you see it in all the different parts of manufacturing, textiles. Machining is one of those things that our instructor likes to say, without machining, everything that we experience we wouldn't be able to use.
Now, we didn't rehearse this, but I'm just curious. I mean, it seems like this is pretty technical stuff too, and you want to have somebody involved in the program, you want students. Should they come to you with pretty good computer skills or a knowledge of science or whatever, or what do you think?
So we want to see someone that likes to work with their hands, but they need a good basic understanding of some math. Really that math skill is key. As you're developing programs and writing programs, you need those math skills. But someone that likes to work and create, likes to see something made. It's a different part every day in many cases.
All right. Now, so that sort of goes with the thing of what areas of education and what kinds of technology that the machining is going to touch on. So it's sort of broad-based and encompasses a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Now, what else are you doing to address that skills gap?
So one of the things we've seen a lot of success with in Alamance County is apprenticeship. So we're going out into the high schools and we're encouraging those individuals to look at apprenticeship. So go to school and earn while they learn. The challenge is a lot of folks don't understand what machining is. So if we get out in those schools, we're talking to those students, their counselors, their teachers, and we're explaining to them what those manufacturing jobs look like. They're able to go out and visit the companies. We've got partnerships with 11 different companies in Alamance County that are hiring those students.
Right in the county that
Right
are
in the
doing
county.
it with you.
Yep.
Because it looks, not to indict anybody, but I think that there's been a lot of companies over the last 10 years or so that said, look, I'm not going to get into this apprenticeship thing, it's too involved or whatever. I mean, that's kind of been the case. So you're sort of reviving this thing, aren't you?
Right, so the advantage of an apprentice is that student's able to learn and get the education, learn the on-the-job skills, but we see a retention rate with those companies that's much higher than someone they hire off the street. So it's a little bit of investment now, but looking for the long term, and those companies are seeing a lot of success.
I know when we were talking with Bridget last month about some of the medical fields and training and histotechnology, that kind of thing, one of the great things was that folks seem to leave Alamance Community College and get a job pretty quickly. Is that going to be sort of the same thing year after year?
Most completely. We don't have enough students graduating these programs to fill the jobs we have. Every single day we're getting phone calls from companies looking for students to enter these jobs, and we just don't have enough students.
All right, well, we're going to fill these jobs too. You guys do such a great job. Up on screen, www.alamancecc.edu, alamancecc.edu for more information on that. Justin Snyder, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. I promised at the head of the show we were going to meet some Girl Scouts, and by golly, we will, and much more. On my immediate right, our good friend Lane Cook, who is CEO of Girl Scouts Carolinas Peaks to Piedmont, and she has brought two friends with her, two Girl Scouts, London Griffith and her friend Emery Alexander. Welcome, ladies. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Lane, I'm going to start with you. Before we get going, remind everyone what area you serve and how many girls are involved in scouting in your purview.
Our council serves 40 counties in western and central North Carolina, and we have the privilege of serving almost 11,500 girls.
Wow. And that doesn't count the volunteers or the adults, but that's just the girl. Wow.
Just the girls.
Okay. Now, is there a specific, I don't think I've ever asked you this before when you were on the show, is there a specific recruiting season, or if I'm, want to sign up, you can do it anytime during the year? How does that work?
We would love for girls to sign up throughout the year, whenever they're interested, whenever they're available. I would say fall is our heaviest recruiting time because it's also back to school season.
Right.
But we allow girls to join any time of the year.
That's good. That's convenient. Now, London, I want to talk to you and Emery for just a second. I want each of you to tell me how old you are and remind people what school you go to. So you start.
So I'm 8 years old and I go to Cash Elementary.
Castle Elementary. You're 8 years old.
Cash.
Cash Elementary. And 8 years old. And Emery, how about you?
I am 9 years young, and I go to the Experiential School of Greensboro.
Okay, 9 years. So you're almost a full year older, and y'all aren't driving yet, are you?
No.
Yeah, that comes later. Now, why did you want to be a Girl Scout? I want to hear from both of you in that. Why did you want to be a Girl Scout? Start with you.
Because meeting new friends and learning new things, and you can accomplish new skills.
Yeah, that's great. When just by learning and be around the other girls and even going to camp and stuff like that. Emery, what about you?
Well, this is my 6th year, and when I joined, I was in kindergarten, so I just wanted to have fun, really.
Well, speaking of fun, then, what's your favorite activity, London? What's your favorite activity is it something at camp or what?
So it's probably going to be the thing that's going to happen like on Friday, this Friday, because I'm going to Girl Scout camp. There's going to be a color run.
A color run? And what is that?
So it's like, like fun runs when you have to like run for like a good cause.
Oh, yeah.
It's something like that. And
Is it like when my wife gives me a chore to do and I run from her?
I don't think so.
Emery, what is your favorite activity?
I like archery. I really like archery.
Wow, archery. That's a hard thing, though. I tried to do that. I was not very good at it. Now, I know that, Lane, are you looking for adult volunteers, or have you got all you need, or how does that work?
We never have all we need. We're always looking for additional adults to help volunteer. We'll take as many as will come our way.
Now, what if I say, hey, look, Elaine, I want to volunteer, but I don't have time to be a scout leader, but is there something else I can do?
Definitely. We always encourage people to consider what their unique skills and talents are, and if there's something that is coordinated with a badge, we'd love for them to come and teach the girls the badge
I
using
didn't
their
think
talent.
about that. Yeah, bring their expertise
Yes.
in there. Okay, now do y'all have some badges already? Do you have any? Do you wear them around? Do you wear them at school? Do you wear your badges at school?
Usually no.
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 Lane, let me ask one other thing. I know that there's another organization out there who is the Boy Scouts, who are actively recruiting girls. What do you tell parents about why they should come to Girl Scouts?
Well, I'm the parent of 2 daughters, and I would tell any parent who asks that Girl Scouts is what I consider the premier leadership organization for girls. Our unique girl-led, all-girl environment is a safe space for girls to try new things, to take the lead, and I think more importantly, just be themselves and have fun.
Well, we can see 2 great ambassadors next to you, too, in London and Emery. They're just fine. And up on screen, Girl Scouts, P2P, it stands for Peaks to Piedmont. Girl Scouts, P2P.org for the radio listening audience. I'll say it again, Girl Scouts, P2P.org. To Lane and London and Emery, I just appreciate you ladies being here and representing, and I think a lot of people want to join after they hear you today. So,
We hope so.
And cookie sales are when now?
They begin January 1st.
That's what I'm looking forward to. All right, when you come back next time, we got to have cookies with you, all right?
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. That's all right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. I was just looking at my copy of Yes Weekly. I hope you'll pick it up. It's free. You can get it just about anywhere. So do what I do about these guys. Just go pick them up. And that's what BJ used to do. He'd see somebody on the side of the road, breaking the law. He'd pick them up. Speaking of breaking the law, next to me on my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster, journalist, B.J. Barnes, former sheriff of Guilford County, is next to him. And bringing up the rear, Keith Granberry, whose lifelong goal is to get B.J. to register as a Democrat.
And why is it that I always have to get?
Well, how is that going, by the way?
You know it's never going to happen, right? But he wants to. He wants to be a Democrat.
He has been, and he saw the light.
Yeah. No, he saw the darkness, and he need to come back to the light.
Oh man, ebony and ivory fight. All right, Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants, doing great work in economic development across the globe, and we appreciate that. Guys, let's talk. I don't want to get too bogged down in politics, but I will say that, as you know, there's this new lawsuit out by Democrats and independents who are suing to have the congressional districts in North Carolina changed, not the state legislative. That's already being changed. Because we have 13 congressmen. There are more Democrats than Republicans in the state, but there are 10 Republicans and 3 Democrats in Congress, which makes no sense to anybody in any calculation. Will this lawsuit prevail? And if it does, are we going to delay primaries, which are scheduled for March the 3rd? Any thoughts, Ogie?
Yeah, talk about being bogged down. This thing has been going on for how long? 7 or 8 years. They redraw them and they do it just enough to make it look good. But it's still not fair. It's still a gerrymander to favor one party over the other, clog all the black votes in one district. So yeah, they'll win again, and they may have to put off the primary.
Right,
Might have to do
BJ.
it.
I don't understand why we just don't turn it over to a computer, which has no political party. Just put all the parameters that you're looking for, let them be fair, turn it over, push a button, and live with what comes out.
Yeah, so it's totally impartial that way. Keith?
I for the first time, I totally agree with the sheriff. This is the first time. There has to be a system that is fair. Gerrymandering has been going on for years.
By both parties.
But specifically the party in power.
Right.
And it's specifically targeting people of color and giving them what they feel like is a voice, but in reality, it's taking their voice away.
Taking the voice away. And in the old days, there were cases, as you cited, where the Democrats would gerrymander. It had nothing to do with race.
Right.
They just didn't want the Republicans in office. And now it's gone. The pendulum's gone way over the other way. A Virginia judge has ruled that couples no longer have to disclose their race on their marriage license. Now, this seems strange to me, guys, because that's sort of an official document, who you are. And it looks like you should have gender and age and race listed on a marriage license, but the Virginia judge says, no, you don't have to. Ogie, any thoughts?
No, I think it's a carryover from the antebellum days of not wanting race mixing. They just frowned on blacks and whites being married. And
right.
They did for years, for centuries.
And they held it on.
And now it's just there. I don't see the point, and I'm okay with that. Sure.
BJ.
I have a problem with that because it is official record, as you say, and what it amounts to. When you start doing research and stuff like that, you may have 15 million John Joneses, but if you have 15 million John Joneses that happen to be white or black or Indian, then you can narrow the thing down. It helps as far as investigation, background checks, and that type of thing.
Keith.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we're talking a marriage license, and race should not go into people being married.
All right, Duke University student government is refusing to recognize a group called Young Life. It's a conservative Christian organization because the group does not allow LGBTQ persons to serve in, quote, leadership positions. Guys, is Duke indirectly violating the organization's right to free speech? What do you think, Ogie?
No, they can still have their group, their little group, and they're not a state-run university, so they can do what they want. But yeah, I kind of applaud them for doing that.
For not accepting it.
Yeah.
If this is a group, why would you even have to have a rule like that? Because they're not going to want to be a part of a group like that in the first place.
Oh, I guess not. I don't know.
So what's the point in trying to legislate something that shouldn't be an issue?
You think they're making more of it than it should have?
Yeah, I agree.
Keith.
I think that they are making, but one of the things that a lot of times people in these communities, they don't let people know. So the people that are making these rules sometimes are part of that community itself. So I don't think you should discriminate against anyone regardless of race, sex, or gender, period. This should not be done.
Now, believe it or not, the Anti-Defamation League has just officially labeled the OK hand gesture like this. Where are we? Richard's directing today. Have we got a close up here? All right, so hey, it's okay. All right. Now anyway, they said that's now a hate symbol and you can't use it. Guys, are you okay with this ruling that they've made, this decision, or is it too politically correct? And will you stop using the okay gesture? Ogie.
Okay, Patty.
What do you think?
It's got a little, BJ, you're asking things that we're going to agree with BJ today.
Well, I didn't set it up that way.
I understand political correctness, how it started, how we want to be nice and gentle to people, treat them fair. But at some point, I think we've tipped a little too far in some cases, and this is one of them.
BJ, the OK symbol.
I agree it is ridiculous, and I use a symbol sometimes that these two guys would object to.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Golly. Man,
Well,
jeez. He
Clinton,
always has to go there, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Wrong.
Keith, what do you think about the OK symbol? They say it's a white supremacist thing.
No, I think it's okay. I think we sometimes look too much into things.
Finally, guys, the Mayo Clinic recently released a study says if you let a dog sleep with you in bed, you will actually get more rested night's sleep. Guys, have you ever slept with a dog? Keith, I know Keith's smiling. I don't want to look at it.
Because I know you can.
And if so, did you sleep better, Ogie?
Yeah, I used to sleep. I'm not even going to go there either, Jim.
BJ.
Yeah.
BJ.
No, but I woke up with one time. And it was a Doberman weighing 95 pounds, and you don't tell it no.
Yeah, okay, sure. Keith, have you ever slept with a dog?
I have not slept with a dog, even though I'm a member of a Mega Psi Phi fraternity. I have not slept with any dogs.
Fortunately,
none.
Fortunately,
Jim, zero.
Fortunately, that's all the time. Fortunately, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Speaking of dogs, Australia just passed a law that requires pet owners to walk their dog at least once a day or be fined $3,000. The purpose of the law is to make it easier for Aussie dogs to go down under. See, they go outside.
Man, jeez.
You know, for a group of guys that dog sleeps, you're not much on these.
I don't sleep with dogs.
Yeah.
Let me tell you
For
that.
all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.